how about we try this again right now? We're joined by Congressman Adam Schiff. He, again, is the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks so much. We know you can hear us this time, so I'll get right to my first question to you, which is specifically about what we're hearing about potential past plans by Syed Farook. What more can you tell us about those plans that we're now learning?
Well, at this point, I'm really cabined by what the director said yesterday, and I think most alarming to us in Congress is the fact that both shooters may have been in contact online for quite some time, radicalized, even before, frankly, the growth of ISIS, and the fact that you may have had these international communications without our knowing, that you would have had entry by the female shooter Malik into the country through the visa process, and that nothing suspicious was caught in that process. And there may have been a prior plot, as you mentioned, that went completely undiscovered, is of grave concern to us. So we're going to be analyzing this both from the perspective of are there other co-conspirators still out there, perhaps not in the San Bernardino plot, but that had been plotting with Farook in the past, as well as how did we miss these international communications.
So, Congressman, talk about some of these frustrations. Is this simply a case of we say if you see something, say something, as we talk about this potential recent plan, if not plot, where someone certainly saw something and may have been a part of something and never said something?
Well, that's exactly right. I think initially we had the impression, as the facts were first coming to light, that maybe this couple self-radicalized. They didn't discuss it with others. Those are among the most difficult to discover because they're not communicating with others. They're not posting things on social media. But now what the director is telling us is that these two were radicalized even before they met in person, before they married, before she came to this country. So there were a great many things that could have tipped us off as to the radicalization of these two. So the question is, why didn't we see this coming? And that's a profound question that we need to get to the bottom of.
And Congressman Schiff, just a week before this attack, the president, the administration told Americans there were no credible or specific threats here. So given this new circumstance where this may exist in our midst right now, how are we supposed to have faith in what we hear from our government officials right now?
Well, I think what we could say before the San Bernardino attack was, or in the immediate aftermath, was that in terms of the Paris attacks, we didn't see any local cell that was affiliated with those attackers in Paris. And with respect to San Bernardino, we at that time did not see this as part of a broader plot. We are learning more. It doesn't necessarily mean that there were more attackers involved in San Bernardino. Right. But nonetheless, I understand the concern. Time will tell as this investigation goes on if there are things that we missed that we should not have, if there are flaws in the visa system, additional flaws that we need to correct. But these are good and very important questions. It does not, at this point, certainly seem like a case where it flew so far below the radar that it would be impossible to have discovered. There were communications, international communications.
Which is exactly where the concern, I think, for a lot of people lies right now. I want to conclude, if I can quickly. You're about to start circulating your plan for military authorization to fight ISIS. We haven't had one since, I think, just after 9/11. Last time, you were critical of the administration's lack of recently, you were critical of the administration's lack of strategy. You're now calling for ground troops in combat roles. Specifically, what are you looking for with this authorization?
Well, I'm not calling for ground troops in a combat role, but what I am suggesting to break the impasse here on the Hill, which has largely been about whether ground troops would be authorized or not authorized, is a resolution that would repeal all the prior resolutions, both of them. It would authorize force against not only ISIS but Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. And it would provide that if the president made the decision at any point to introduce ground troops, a privileged motion in Congress would be in order so we could take up a vote to revise or repeal that authority. That may be enough to bridge this divide between the parties and actually vote on an authorization.
Congressman Adam Schiff, a lot on your plate, a lot on Congress's plate right now. We appreciate you spending time with us. Thanks so much.